The thing about discovering that you're autistic later in life is like, well, the thing is, there's a lot of things. That's what I'm trying to say. There's a lot of emotions that you might experience. There's a lot that you might need to unpack during the process. And it's really a shame that there's such a dismissal sometimes of people who are diagnosed later in life with autism because it's really just such a misunderstood experience. I mean, of course, go figure. It's kind of insane when you think about it because it's like autistic people go their whole lives feeling most misunderstood a lot of the times, and then to then uncover like a huge part of yourself, because that's the thing about it. You realize, oh, this kind of contextualizes my entire life, which is insane. And depending on the person, to discover that can be like, wow, like this is information that I can use to have such a deeper understanding of myself, and to just oftentimes have more compassion. The thing is, like I said, there can be a lot of different emotions going on, but that can be a part of it for a lot of people, is just having a deeper understanding and recontextualizing the things that you felt about yourself and the way that other people treated you and the way others viewed you and the things that others may have called you, and to recontextualize that and be like, no, it's not so negative as it maybe used to feel, but this is what has been going on. And so to go your whole life being misunderstood, because the thing is, even when you don't and other people don't know that you're autistic, there's a vibe that's picked up on, and people do oftentimes treat you differently. We've all got different lives, but it's a very common experience. And so to have that basically because of a certain thing about you, which is autism, and then to feel that way your whole life, and then you finally come to the understanding of why you've had the life experience that you have, and then you have a deeper understanding and you feel like it's good that I finally come to this understanding and I know what this is. And maybe you're someone who likes to talk about that and communicate that because it's a huge part of your life, right? Because, like I said, it really puts into context your entire life. Like, it's that deep. And to feel that way, but then maybe to have other people perceive you and be very dismissive of it is just, and then also continue to call you names just like you were probably called all your life, and it's like, oh wow, yeah. Go figure. you know Disabled people like being mistreated and then continuing to be mistreated no matter whether people know what's up or what's not. It's like, they didn't know and they were treating me badly, and then now they know, but they want to dismiss it so that they can continue to treat me badly and like call me weird and say all kinds of things about me. And that can be really insane. And like, thankfully, I personally haven't experienced a lot of that, of like people being dismissive of me in that way, because I'm not really like a huge content creator or anything. So like, I don't get that much attention because usually the more attention you get, the more chances of people being an ass to you. That's with absolutely anything that you talk about on the internet. I mean, I've occasionally gotten like weird comments on like anything, not even like about autism, but just other things I say, where people just say the craziest shit that is entirely not shows that they really don't understand what I was saying at all, kind of thing. I guess this is kind of going to be a little bit of a long video because I haven't even really gotten to the point that I initially had in my mind about explaining the whole thing about discovering later in life that you're autistic. And then you kind of might recognize in a lot of cases that, oh, like I kind of have to have a whole new understanding, or I have to basically uncover my true self, because a lot of the times, if you are someone who is only late diagnosed or discovered later in life that you are autistic, you were probably, it's probably like it wasn't caught before often because you were masking, but like also, of course, everything else that goes into it, like being born female and a person of color and, all sorts of things. And, back not having as much knowledge in the community about autism back when you were younger. And so you were missed. That's really a big part of it, because I mean, you could present the same way in people who were diagnosed early, like the same exact signs were in you. Of course they were, but they weren't picked up because of, who you were. Um, I see obviously a lot of women talking about being late diagnosed. I really only see um, a couple of guys who are later diagnosed talking about it. I don't have as well. I mean, there's quite a few that I've follow on different platforms, but there's, I feel like, much more women that I follow. But that's another thing too, that I kind of, I wish there were more guys talking about it, like more cis guys, and also like trans guys. I'm trans, and like gender queer people and stuff like that. Because something that I actually don't really like is that, like, the way a lot of autistic women talk about it as like as their experience being fully, completely the experience of being an autistic woman. Because um and I feel like that anyway, not to say like, but just like I don't always feel like there's a recognition that there are other types of people who have a very similar experience to you. Not everybody, um, not every guy is actually like low masking. There's a lot of cis men who are like high masking autistic, um, and lower support needs autistic, and like even later diagnosed autistic. You know what I'm saying? Sorry, I have a hard time not getting all over the place sometimes, or a lot of the times. But anyway, there can be this big process that can often seem overwhelming of really uncovering who you truly are and figuring out how you actually want to show up in the world in the way that feels most authentic to you. That can be quite an overwhelming journey. And it's like, it's beautiful and complicated and just everything at the same time. But anyway, I want to express that it's okay for the process of, more fully coming into yourself to take a while, and to have multiple shifts within it. It can take a while to find a balance, and that's perfectly fine.